song you just wrapped your head around was Catharsis by Visions of Morpheus. And Jeff with Visions of Morpheus is the doctor's guest on Doghouse tonight. How you doing, Jeff?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you. Thank you. So, um, Doc understands you guys are a four-piece band. So
Yep.
just give us a real quick rundown of the members in Vision of Morpheus.
Yeah. Well, there's the obviously myself. I'm the main songwriter, vocalist, current keyboardist, and guitarist on most of it. Um, Basically, for the album, we were just a three-piece because we were kind of between guitar players when we started recording everything. Then the other guitar player that we have is Havish. He's from Dominican. Um, he might be joining us here today. We'll see. He just is a new father, so he's a little challenged for time, and there's a lot of unpredictable things that can happen at any moment.
Yes.
But yeah, so he joined us. And I think it was probably last summer. Yeah, end of last summer. And then we also have a Gunner. He's our bass player. I'm actually in a cover band with him as well. And then our drummer that we've had for a while now is Tyler, and he's actually based out of near Peterborough. Just getting a notification here from Javish that he's on his way.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was wondering what that noise was. It was like, huh? It was like a warning sign going off.
Yeah.
um, okay, so Havish is the drummer, right? No, no,
Tyler's the
no, no. Tyler's the drummer. I'm sorry.
other keyboard player or the guitar player. It's funny. So we might be joined on a few gigs by an actual live breathing keyboard player. We're going to have some auditions and that sort of thing, and see where it goes. But yeah, so far what he sent me is looking very promising. I mean, it's kind of another mouth to feed on stage, but it's also some people appreciate more when you're not playing with tracks, but it can be a little bit challenging. Some stages are really small, and there's just nowhere to put a fifth
Right.
member, right, with a full size keyboard and everything. So we're just gonna kind of reserve it, think, for some of the larger shows. I think would be best.
Well, doesn't it give you guys a little bit more freedom on your guitars and not having to worry about playing keys?
Yeah, because we just kind of go along with backing tracks for all the keyboard parts right now. So that's, there's pros and cons to that. It's certainly, you always know that keyboard player will never make a mistake, but
Right, right,
so kind of locked in on the rails to that, and you can't. It's like, oh, I want to take an extra, couple of bars for a solo. It's like, no, you can't do
right,
that.
right,
To stay target here.
right.
Um, but the other thing, I mean, there's a lot of layers in the music as well, so it's it's a bit challenging even for a full keyboardist to cover everything that he has to do. And so we'll probably still have just a few elements in backing tracks, whether it's like I don't know, like a big hit or a gong or something like that. We never use backing tracks for vocals or anything else, right? It's just to cover off the keyboard stuff. But we, I'm trying to program our light show to be in sync with everything as well, and that is also has to kind of run on a click track, which is part of our backing track where you have to keep everything in sync with. So don't know that we'll really get away from that if we want to have kind of the light show as well.
Well, you know what? You wouldn't be the first band that had backing tracks of other instruments that weren't in the band um,
Yeah.
that was played. And I mean, I'm talking some big names. So,
Oh yeah. Everybody
you,
does it.
yeah. So it's not something like, well, it's nice to have it live, but if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So So tell us this, Jeff. Um, why did you choose the Greek god of dreams as your namesake?
Yeah, I wanted to not be kind of pigeonholed into sometimes when you have a certain band name, it seems to kind of lock you into a certain subgenre that you can't really get out of very easily. So I just wanted something that was mysterious, expansive, and just kind of leaves the door wide open for whatever you want to do. So I mean, it's kind of the whole thing is that a lot of our songs are all based off of dreams and nightmares or visions, whatever you want to call it. But that's kind of the underpinning of all of that stuff.
No, and you know that's the idea I got from your name. So,
Yeah,
you know, your music does it blends progressive and symphonic metal in a very unique way. So, you know,
yeah,
how do you balance these influences and melting these genres together?
yeah. It's a bit of a challenge for sure because I didn't want to kind of descend into uber prog where it's just only accessible to like a very small audience. um, I've always kind of built off my influences, which I'm kind of a child of the 80s, right? So that's where a lot of my early influences began, and then just really being able to kind of flesh that out. I like to have the main guts of the song be relatively straightforward, good hooks and melodies, and there's there's a fairly standard sense of structure to them. That's not I'm not doing anything too crazy, but I will throw in stuff generally in the middle section is where we kind of do a little more exploration. Some songs, to a larger degree than others. And yeah, I just kind of wanted something that wasn't, like I say, just going to be, it's like, okay, you can play, 2 times a year to these 40 people who are like really into that, a particular subgenre of metal. So,
Well, it's definitely unique. So Doc's gonna one he's gonna lay down one now for you guys. Here's Medusa from Visions of Morpheus.
cool.
Nice track. I like that. So, you know, it does seem that the concept of dreams and subconsciousness plays a real crucial part. So, explain how this theme, you know, influences your songwriting and your creative process.
Yeah, I would say you're really trying to capture those visuals. So you might only have like a snippet of something in a dream, right? Sometimes you wake up and you don't really remember a whole lot about it. It's just kind of impressions, feelings, and maybe some imagery associated with it. So just kind of spending time with that and trying to really flesh out what the story was behind the feeling or what you saw, what kind of resonated with you at the time. And I mean, I've always been into history and space exploration and all that sort of stuff. So it obviously is going to kind of permeate what I think about, what I sort of dream about, and just kind of where my real influences and interest is, and to kind of really bring those ideas forward. So I love listening to a lot of progressive and symphonic metal, and just kind of wanted to somehow blend and fuse those things. Like I say, and just in kind of more of a rapper that still has a sense of um, melody and really can stand on its own as a song,
No,
as
I
opposed
like that.
to yeah, like a I know
I
when you hear some other music. Oh, I'm not trying to put anybody down, but it's just if it's a sort of a disconnected bunch of ideas, it's hard to really um, leave an impression.
I agree. I do, and I could say more on the subject, but my producer fucker Magpie doesn't want me to yak too much, so I won't say too much. But I'll just agree with you. So, um, uh, uh, but let me ask you this: social media and online, platforms are really important for bands to connect, with their audiences. And I'm really curious about you guys with this. How do you use these tools, to share your music in the world of dreams that you've created around your music?
Yeah, I guess a lot of it because social media is a visual medium that you kind of have to start with the imagery to try and entice people. And obviously, so you might post some lyrics, you know, as well because that also kind of speaks to it. I'm not. That's probably the area that I have to work on the most is the actual lyrical content. It's never really been my thing when, over the years, it's like, I'm just here for the guitar, man. I don't care about anything else. But yeah, just trying to really sort of communicate those same sort of things when I'm songwriting, and that the sense of um, the story. It really comes down to the story, and you're trying to just make that connection between the song, the story, and the listen.
No, I like that. Since you answered it that way, I do have a question. So,
Yeah.
um, do you find that the visual or the instrumental part of your music, when you're putting it out there for promos or exposure or whatever you want to call it, or the lyrics, what do you think hooks the person in first?
I would say initially the image, because, like I say, because we're just kind of drawn to that, and that's how you have to get people's attention. And then, if you can get them to actually listen to the song, um, I mean, it's always a challenge these days because everyone's attention span is very short. It's an incredibly saturated market, and it's really tough to cut through all the other bands and everything else out there. Everyone's just trying to, jockey for position and get their stuff through as well.
Yep.
So it's yeah, that's really just trying to be, I guess, consistent in the way that you're telling the story and that you're putting it out there so that people kind of have a pretty good idea when they see something. It's like, oh, this could be, it just kind of lines up with what you've done before, whether it's visually or musically.
No, and I agree. I agree. And I think that's very smart. I do. So, um, let me ask you this: is it? And I know Jeff, you said at the beginning you were the main songwriter. Do you ever pull off of any of the other guys' dreams? Do you ever ask them, hey, dude, tell me about your dreams? I mean, it's kind of a weird, I guess, question to ask, but um, but since you base a lot of your music on dreams, I mean, it's not really that stupid to ask because it could be
No,
I could come in and say, dude, I had this weirdest freaking dream. And I'm going to tell
yeah,
you about it. Especially when you guys know what your music is based on.
right. Yeah, I think we're gonna probably do some of that more for the next album, just because we had those member changes all the time, and I already had pretty clear vision, pun intended, about what I wanted to accomplish and the direction I wanted to go. And but to be honest, I mean, I've done songwriting over the years. This is really the first honest attempt that I've done with incorporating lyrics and everything else in a kind of in an original format. So yeah, it was just something, I guess, I was just trying to sort of prove to myself that I could do it. And there's going to be a little more input from the other band members for the next album now that our lineup seems to be pretty stable. And I mean, there's an overall theme for the next record that's going to be, I mean, I'm sure everyone else is doing the same thing, right? It's going to be about artificial intelligence and the future of humanity and where we're going, where it's leading and everything else. So um, there's definitely a lot of, room for speculation and everything else. I have written some stuff for it already, but yeah, I think we'll kind of have more group sessions where we incorporate ideas from everybody. And
Havish, how are you?
Hey, all good, and you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, bud. Well, we're just sitting here talking, me and Jeff. So we're just going to go ahead and blend back into the interview. And so I've got a song coming up to introduce anyway. So I'm going to introduce the song, and then we'll get right back into the interview. So
Okay, sure.
so here's one flying at you now, which is "Watch the World Burn" by Visions of Morpheus.
Blind to the truth
guys have a real distinctive sound that sets you apart in the metal scene. So, how do you see your musical identity evolving in the future? And will there be any changes in your themes or sound coming up?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Um, like I say, I think there's, like once you release your music, you get feedback from people, right? Because sometimes when you're really close to it, you have your own impression as to what it is, but it may not be actually all that accurate as to what other people are hearing, right? Um, so there is going to be things kind of moving in more of a modern direction on some of it. I still want to keep that sense of melody and everything else. Identifiable hooks and all of that sort of thing, rather than just slapping ideas together. But I suppose it would probably be a little more on the dynamic side, and I'm hoping there'll be maybe some more a little more energy and power behind some of the songs. Um, because I'm influenced by a lot of these other bands, like a Symphony X and Camelot and BGM and all that sort of stuff, right? So I think, kind of keeping our core overall idea about what we've established, but also moving it in new directions. And yeah, it's always one of those things you want to progress, but you don't want to alienate your audience and completely change your sound, right? So
Right.
it's a bit of a fine line to walk there, but based on what I've written so far, I think it'll.
Well, I always call it branding your sound, meaning that you can do different things with your music, but when people hear it without knowing it's you, will know it's you because you have that sound that connects you with your songs. And I believe that's the best thing you could ever have if you do have that. And I think you guys do. But because, think about, like you said, Jeff, your 80s. Think about the bands that you listened to back then, and you could hear a new song come out on the radio, and never heard it, and you know exactly who it was. Um,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and that's I call branding, and that's awesome, guys. That's awesome.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I want to go back a couple questions ago that we were talking, and Havish, I'm glad you joined us. And for my listeners, Havish has now joined us from the Visions of Morpheus. So nice to have you, Havish. But you start talking about, a lot of bands are doing more things with AI. Do you think that bands are using AI to write their music?
Mm, this is a very good question, and at the same time, a little bit tricky. I think some people might be doing that. Um, but yeah, some people, I mean, I agree with taking advantage of technology. That's fine. But if you take advantage from the technology, whatever it is, AI or you name it, whatever it is, right? And then that will be the cost to not, I mean, not throw out like original stuff. I don't think it's worth it. Now, if you use technology to help you improve or I don't know, whatever, that will be acceptable completely. So, but to some extent, if you just relied on technology, I believe that will kill your creativity. Somehow, it will start killing your creativity, and maybe you might get some robotics ideas from AI generated stuff. So, and actually, you can feel it. You can feel it. So, because humans, when we create stuff, we kind of if I can say this, impregnate your sense to it. And
Yes.
then this is what the people receive at the end of the day,
Right.
not something created by machine. So it doesn't have feelings. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, no, and I agree. The feeling, there's no feeling there. There's no emotion there. There's nothing that comes from you and your soul. And as songwriters, you guys know that that's where the songs come from. Think about it. I mean,
Yeah.
um, whether you write them or somebody else does, it came from their feelings, their thoughts that were put together. And I don't think, you know, that with AI, but I just wondered that when Jeff brought that up about a lot of bands are using, you know, the AI technology for their videos, and that's cool. I mean, and I agree, Havish, you know, enhancing your music, running it through DOS, different software, different pieces of the equipment, that's all acceptable. Okay.
Yeah.
But I worry that AI is going to get so sophisticated that think about this. What's happening in now is that people are being replaced by what? Robots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so what stops bands from being replaced by not robots, but artificial intelligence? Think about it, because a lot of bands I do interviews with don't tour. They don't play live. And so if you're a band that doesn't play live, then you never have to worry about getting on a stage, and you could do whatever you want to do with your music. It's just a thought, you know. We don't have to keep
Yeah.
going down that road, but it was just interesting when Jeff mentioned that, and I think with doing your videos, I think it's phenomenal. I think it just can create some phenomenal stuff. But anyway, I'm going to spin one now for you guys from Visions of Morpheus, which is Ghost.
Loneliness, it's all
Another great track. So if I'm not mistaken, Ghost was just released, wasn't it, May 17th?
Yeah, yeah, it's May 17th was the release on that. And we're kind of doing things a little bit different than a lot of other bands. Um, we kind of released the album, but now like the physical album, we actually had our CD release party in November, last November, but we are kind of just rolling out the songs one at a time now onto the streaming platforms. So it's always been a bit of a challenge to kind of figure out what the strategy should be for all of that, right?
Right.
I mean, we recently just signed up with our label, so we're kind of getting a lot of good guidance from them as to here's how you should be planning things out, because that's something like again I've done writing over the years, but I haven't really released anything in this kind of a format before. There was kind of an instrumental album that I did a number of years ago back in 2010, but I mean it's long gone. And Power 7 was one of the ones off of that, but yeah. Anyways, basically just trying to roll all this stuff out and create something sustainable, because if you just release the whole album and then after a few months people are like, okay, what else you got? What do you mean you took 2 years to write that? What do you mean what else do I got?
Right, right. No, that's the smartest way to do it anyway, the way you guys are doing it. It really is. So nowadays that's the only way you can do it. But just, on the day of release, wasn't it somebody's birthday in the band?
Mine.
It was your birthday?
Yes.
Well, happy late birthday to you there, Jeff. So, and I'm glad that you released that song on your birthday because it's a great song. So, your performances are likely a significant aspect of how you connect with your audiences and your music, and so how do you translate the depth of that complexity of the studio recordings to the live stage?
Yeah, certainly a challenge. um Obviously the actual the keyboard tracks will help to kind of pull people in. We did do, I think, one show without the backing tracks, and it's just like, yeah, it's okay, yeah, it's fine. Uh, but then when you actually have those parts there, you get full experience, right? But I mean, otherwise, we're trying to put together like a better light show, which is something that I'm working on, and just create more mood and atmosphere. And I think once you kind of have that in time with the music, it'll really help to tell the story a lot better. But a lot of it is just you're trying to really connect with each individual person in the audience as you're performing, and really try and drive the song's message home with them, because people remember those experiences, and that's keeps them coming back. And even in all of our merch and stuff like that we sell, we try to keep that same sense of um, mystery and in-depth storytelling, I guess, as well.
What do you
Yeah, I
think?
can add.
What do
Sorry.
you? No, I was gonna say, what do you think, Avish?
Yeah, so I can add a little bit more to that. So I'm the newest member of the band. I don't know if you're aware of it. So and I noticed that with every show we have, I noticed that Jeff actually tries to innovate and make things better and better and better. So in a way that we look every time more professional. So, and this is something that I really like about working with these guys. So there's always something new, something that we can work on and make it better and better and better and better. So yeah.
Well, when you're playing live, that's the goal, is to get your shows, and don't get to a point where it's like, okay, this is good enough. You just constantly have better shows. Um, and being the new member, Havish, how do you feel the dynamics and the energy on stage is with the fellow members?
I believe we have a lot of rapport, and that's very important when you play together with other people. So if if you don't have that, I don't think it's worth it. And also the audience will notice it. Like everyone is just like doing their own thing, and there's not a unity
Yep.
among the group. So and that is not good. I've seen bands before like that, like, oh, I see this guy is doing his own thing, that other one is like his own world, stuff like that. And actually you receive it from if you are expectating uh or if you're in the audience, so you really notice that. So in our case, I think we have a very good connection among us. Yes.
Yeah, it's almost like some of those bands are like a band full of studio musicians that just came in to
Yeah.
play. If there is no connection, you know what I mean? And that's that's sad. That's
It
sad.
is.
So, Jeff, you've finally got your crew together, and I'm asking the same question I asked Havish is, how do you feel about the band now, the dynamics of the band, and the path that you guys are going together?
Yeah, kind of like what Havisha said, it's really does come down to the connection that we all have on stage, and but people can tell that we're up there having fun. I mean, we take our fun moments when we can. There's a lot of technical stuff that we have to really concentrate on, but as you play more shows, you get more comfortable with the material,
Yes.
and we did sort of take some time off from playing out when we were recording. So in like 2023, we didn't really do a whole heck of a lot. I think previous to that, like the last show was in November, or it was in December, I guess. And then we just took a lot of time off. Um, Part of it is also too that because I do a lot of the actual the writing and all the video editing and everything else. So there's always a bit of a bottleneck on my end because I have to do all that stuff. But yeah, it's coming back to your question. It's just kind of really good to have that sense of brotherhood and everything else with the other members, and we can just once you get to know each other a lot better, you can just kind of communicate a lot just through like a look or a gesture, stuff like that. And yeah, we're definitely having a lot more fun out there, and we've been playing a lot more consistently now. It's a bit
That
different.
that's great. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. So thank you for answering it that way. That's phenomenal. So tell us, you guys, what's going to go on with the band? Where are you playing? Do you have any new releases that's coming up that we can look forward to, and what can we look forward to in 2024 and beyond? So give the doc and the listeners the lowdown on what's going on with you guys.
Yeah, so we still have about 6 or so songs left to be released from this album. During the summer, we're going to be writing, get back to writing new material and stuff like that. I've actually been wanting to do that for quite some time, but as we sort of kicked into promotion mode for the album, things the things really pull you in a different direction. And I start to realize like, oh my God, this is a lot of work, and it's a lot of work that you have to put in every day just to try and get some visibility, grow the fan base, so everything else. So now that we have basically like a foothold established, yeah, we want to release more videos. I am working on probably about 3 or 4 of them right now that are in various stages of completion. So it won't be too much longer, but it would be nice in a perfect world we have a video come out when the song drops, but that has not always ever been the case, actually.
That's hard.
It's a real challenge because it really comes down to the time involved, and we're rehearsing for shows. We had to get one of our guys back up to speed who was subbing in for us. So those are weekly practices and everything else, right? So that sort of takes time away. But yeah, definitely the more videos, new music's coming out, and yeah, we're just going to try and keep making things bigger and better and more interesting and more immersive.
That's great. How do you see your live gigs going? Do you see yourselves being booked pretty solid, or are you guys going to take it as it comes and take some time, like you said, to finish your songs, write some new songs?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with playing shows. Like you're always kind of trying to establish footholds in a new market or just kind of reinforce what you've already done. So, I mean, we're just starting to get back into playing in Toronto again. So we're really trying to make that that's kind of like our main base, right? But we might
Right.
also be doing stuff in Hamilton. We do shows in Durham region, Oshawa, and stuff where we're from, and we always do fairly well there because that's where we're kind of established from anyhow. But um, yeah, I would say we probably don't want to go too crazy with a lot of shows because you sort of want to leave the audience, leave them wanting a little bit more. So if you do it too often, then it's kind of like, I'll just see them next time, and it's no big deal, right? So
Yeah.
you play too often, it's kind of a balancing act, I think.
No, that's smart. That's really smart. I don't think I've heard too many bands say that as far as how your thought process is on playing the venues and how often to play them. That's pretty smart, Jeff. That's pretty smart.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Because like doing like a tour per se, where just kind of you start at your home base and then you just kind of spiral outwards.
right.
Basically,
So I take it then there's some pretty good and venues out there in Canada for you guys.
there are. I'm looking to put a show together in the fall, but kind of like a big epic metal night. So we're gonna have a lot of bands, like probably be about 5 bands or so. Um, Maybe another one added into the mix, but still kind of in the early stages of trying to plan that out. And I do I do kind of like running my own shows from time to time. So I would probably say so far 80, 70, 80% of the shows that we've done have just been ones that I've put together because then you can choose who you're doing it with and you just have all the flexibility, right? It's like,
Right.
okay, yeah, because we put the show together, we prefer to headline, and then we want, you can basically say, okay, we're going to play this amount of time, and then we'll get another band to play this amount of time. And it just kind of gives you some more flexibility as far as that goes.
So Havish, congratulations. I understand you're a new father,
Yeah,
huh?
that's right. Thank you.
You're grinning from ear to ear, guy.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Boy or girl?
it's a girl.
Well, congratulations. I know that she's gonna have a very protective daddy, so I can already tell that just by looking at you, bud.
Shoot. Oh no.
so so do you guys find with the four piece that is there issues with time and the family and friends? I mean, some bands have it, some bands don't. And speaking of having a new baby, that just brought up the question in my mind that how does that affect the band? How does it affect your playing? How does it affect the family life?
You or me?
You can start.
Okay. So actually, in terms of at the beginning, at least the first month, it was very difficult because the baby was well, we were adjusting to the baby. Yeah. So and then so I barely get the chance to practice and then but as the first month passed, so kind of figure it out, things out. And then I had a little more time to practice. So but yeah, it actually, I believe it's not that bad. So far, I think doing well so far. Yes, sure. Of course, I'd like to have more time like before, but I can't.
Right. No, no.
No, I've been very impressed with your ability to kind of balance both worlds, Savish, and it's not easy. It's a challenge for any of us who don't have family like myself, and our drummer and that, and yeah, just trying to make yourself available and uh, both physically and mentally, right? Because that's kind of the other thing. If you're just kind of there, but you're worried about everything else and you're not really present, it affects things. But no, he's done a very good job of kind of bringing everything forward, and yeah, it's not easy at all. As far as um, my family life, or my, you know, just kind of trying to integrate everything into what I'm doing, it's always the most precious time, the commodity that we have is time, and just trying to prioritize things helps a lot. It's like, okay, here's the things I have to do this week, and what's really critical to get done, and then what isn't. Obviously, it helps that because so I don't have kids, and I'm actually in two other bands. Well, one's just an acoustic duo. We don't play that often, and then the other one plays probably 3 or 4 gigs or more per month. Um, yeah, I just seem to be immersed in music all the time. It's not a full-time gig for me. Um, I just don't think there's that much money in it unless you're a studio musician or professional sort of thing. But yeah, it's like I say, every day you just have to kind of say, okay, what can I do today? What windows of time do I have? And how can I use that time most effectively?
Damn, dude. When you say it's not a full-time thing for you, I'm thinking you do an awful lot. It's
Yeah,
like, okay, if that's not full-time, I don't know what is. So,
yeah, yeah.
uh, so Doc's gonna put one out to you guys. Bang your head on this one, which is Through Fire and Flame from Visions of Morpheus. Phenomenal track, guys. Phenomenal. So tell the Doc and the listeners one thing you want us to know about the band and your music.
Well, Havish, do you want to take that one, or do you want me to?
And you take that role,
Okay.
I think.
Okay, I was stalling for time and it didn't work. Um, yeah, yeah. Some of these questions are difficult to answer because it's everything is so close to me. But yeah, just I think there's always something else that you're going to hear on a subsequent listening. I've put a lot of layers of things into the songs, and I think there's a lot of takeaways and inspiration from that. We don't necessarily write stuff that is like relationship based, or that sort of thing, right? There's all kinds of that stuff out there already, but yeah, it's kind of like a sense of a release, or whatever you want to call it, that you're kind of taking that experience away with you, and it's kind of like a good book. So when you watch a good movie or read a good book, then that will leave an impression with you, and that's something that you can keep coming back to, right? I mean, the music is a different format because it evolves through time, whereas I guess you can still go back and read the same thing in a book if you wanted to, but it's a little bit different because it's more black and white. You've already kind of experienced that, but with music, it will always kind of resonate differently depending on what you're going through in your life, what you're thinking about, what's happened to you recently. Maybe you saw some show on TV and it reminds you of part of one of our songs, right? And it's just so that there's that sort of tie-in that can just sort of make the connection a little more lasting, I think.
Avish?
Yeah, actually, I believe that every time you listen to one of our songs, so you are discovering something new. Especially even today, to me, I have discovered some stuff, and sometimes I go to the rehearsal and I say, "Hey, Jeff, look what I heard."
Yeah,
Yeah. Like,
yeah,
I know I was there, but I did not pay attention to it before. And then so I have discovered a lot of stuff like that. And I
yeah.
try to incorporate those when we are rehearsing and also in our live show. So yeah, so I say it's an amazing experience actually to listen to all these songs, not only and the lyrics and also with the music. So the music is like pretty well done. So the material is very, very, very good, I can say. So the way Jeff composed all of this song and put all this riff together, so it is so amazing. So it kind of tell a story, musically speaking, from the beginning to the end. Yeah.
I think songs can evoke different emotions and differently in everybody. And what I found about listening to your songs is that even the tracks I listen to over and over again, every time I listen to them, I thought of something different.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that goes back to your name, Jeff. Visions of Morpheus, which is the god of dreams. And I think if you're not bogged down in your brain with something that's really weighing on you or you're thinking about, it opens up and expands your mindset to where when you listen to a song, you can travel to a different place. Um, each time you listen to that song, it doesn't necessarily have to take you and remind you of something right now or something that happened a month ago. It can
For
take you
sure.
to a totally different place.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think what you set out to do, you've definitely done it. Okay, with your music and that's phenomenal. So Doc's gonna spin one more at you guys from Vision of Morpheus, which is Here Beyond. Epic track, guys. Epic track. So give a give us where we can go and find your music, your videos, your merchandise, any gig dates coming up, and locations. So for the listeners that are around you, that they can come and see you guys. Just give us the lowdown on where we can find you guys at.
Yeah. So we're on Bandcamp. You can buy the album from there. Of course, we are, as I mentioned, we're slowly rolling out the streaming services, but we have a full website that has all of our merchandise. It has all the gigs that are upcoming. You can sign up for the newsletter. We do have some of our videos and stuff on there. We have a lot of stuff on YouTube as well, though there needs to be more of it for sure. So we want to do like some playthroughs and things like that, and even just some other covers and stuff that we do. I think would be interesting as well. But yeah, everything's on our website, visionsofmorpheus.com. And we're also on things like Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff.
Great. You guys heard it. Definitely go check them out. I mean, this band is phenomenal. Their music is phenomenal. So Doc wants to thank Jeff and Havish from Visions of Morpheus for joining him in the doghouse tonight. And it was a great interview, guys. Great music. Doc had a great time. I hope you guys did too. And I want to thank you guys again for being on the show.
Yeah,
Thank you for
so
having
much.
us.
It was a lot of fun.
Doc's pleasure. Doc wants to give a big shout out to MM Radio, Magpie Sally, Dogbone Studio, and Matt R. So, guys, the Doc will be back next Friday. In the meantime, be kind to each other and always keep on rocking. The Doc,
Yeah.
Jeff, Havish, Visions of Morpheus, we're out. You guys have a great day. Take care.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.